It was 2 in the morning when the knock came. 3 soft raps, deliberate, steady. The kind that tell you the person on the other side isn't lost or drunk. They know who they're looking for. I was living in a $39 a night motel room, eating cold beans straight out of a can, wondering how my life had fallen apart so completely. The wallpaper was peeling, the heater groaned like it wanted to die, and somewhere next door, a man was crying himself to sleep. I remember thinking how miserable he sounded, until I realized I probably sounded the same. Then came the knock. When I opened the door, the hallway light flickered over a man in a $5,000 suit, holding a leather briefcase that looked like it belonged in a courtroom, not a motel. His shoes were polished enough to see your reflection in, and the smell of expensive cologne fought against the musty air of room 107. "Vernon Hutchkins?" he asked, voice smooth, practiced. "Yeah," I said, already defensive. "If you're here about money, I don't have any." He smiled faintly, not the friendly kind, more like he knew something I didn't. "Your ex-wife Melody doesn't know I'm here. But what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about her cancer, your divorce, and why she really left you. My name is Vernon Hutchkins. I'm 45 years old, and 6 months ago I had everything. A successful construction company, a house I built with my own hands, 2 kids I loved more than life itself, and a wife I'd sworn to protect until the day I died. Now, I was a man with nothing but a dented pickup truck, a handful of regrets, and a room in a motel where the sheets never got washed twice. The man in the suit was still standing at my door, patient, unmoving. Behind him, the flickering neon sign of the Sunset Valley Motel buzzed in and out of life, casting red shadows across his face. He looked like someone who'd never sold his wedding ring to pay a hospital bill, the kind of man my ex-wife said she wanted instead of me. "May I come in, Mr. Hutchkins?" he asked. "What I have to show you shouldn't be discussed in a doorway." I looked around at my pathetic excuse for a home. The unmade bed, the hot plate on a folding table, cardboard boxes stacked like gravestones to a life I used to have. Not exactly company ready, but something in his eyes, calm, certain, made me step aside. "5 minutes, I muttered. "Then you leave." He entered quietly, set his briefcase on the bed, and faced me like we were about to negotiate something that would change lives. "Mr. Hutchkins," he said, "my name is Theodore Ashford. I'm a private investigator, and I've been hired by someone who cares about you very much. Someone who never believed the story your wife told." "Ex-wife," I corrected, the words scraping my throat like gravel. "Yes, of course, your ex-wife, Melody." He opened the briefcase and pulled out a thick manila folder. "Tell me, Mr. Hutchkins, did you ever meet Dr. Harrison Vance before your wife's diagnosis? Her oncologist?" I frowned. "No, she found him through a specialist referral. Said he was the best in Denver for ovarian cancer." "Why?" Theodore slid a photograph across the bed. Melody stood in it, laughing at what looked like a family barbecue. And beside her was a man I recognized immediately, Dr. Vance. The date on the photo? 3 years before her diagnosis. My stomach turned. "Dr. Vance," Theodore said, his voice low, "is your ex-wife's second cousin, and he's been helping her plan something truly evil for the past 2 years." The room tilted. I gripped the back of a chair to steady myself. "That's impossible," I whispered. "I saw her suffering, the chemo, the weight loss, the fear. All carefully orchestrated," he said. "But we'll get to that." He pulled another document from the folder, a bank statement, the kind with zeros that make your blood run cold. "This account is in the Cayman Islands," he continued. "Your ex-wife has been depositing money there every time you sold something to pay for her treatments. Your house, your equipment, even your father's Harley, all of it, straight to this account." I sat down hard on the bed. The cheap mattress groaned under the weight of my disbelief. My hands shook, not from the cold, from something deeper, rage, grief, betrayal. "You're telling me," I said slowly, "she never had cancer?" The medical records were falsified. The chemotherapy was saline and vitamin injections designed to make her look sick. Weight loss came from diet pills. Every single part of it was planned, documented, and executed with the help of Dr. Vance and her divorce attorney, Brent Caldwell. That name hit like a hammer. Caldwell. The same smug lawyer who tore me apart in court. The man who'd smiled as he took my kids away. "How long have you known this?" "I've been investigating for 6 months, Theodore said. "I was hired the day after your divorce was finalized." "By who?" I asked, barely breathing. He smiled for the first time, small, proud. "Your father, Earl Hutchkins." My chest tightened. "My dad? He never believed Melody was sick. Said, and I quote, 'My boy would give everything for family, but I'll be damned if I let him lose everything to a lie.'" The tears came before I could stop them. Hot, angry tears. My father, who I'd pushed away out of pride, had been fighting for me this whole time. Your mother helped too, Theodore continued. She followed Melody to fake appointments. Your brother Dalton tracked money trails. Your whole family's been working behind the scenes. You were never alone, Vernon, even when you thought you were. Those words broke something open in me. All those nights in this motel room, the empty cans, the silence, the guilt, thinking I'd been abandoned by everyone I loved. Turns out they'd been fighting for me while I was drowning. What happens now? I asked, voice trembling. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., he said. The FBI will arrest Melody and Brent Caldwell for fraud, conspiracy, embezzlement, and about a dozen other federal charges. Dr. N. Vance has already confessed for a reduced sentence. I could barely speak. The kids? I asked finally. They know the truth, Theodore said softly. They're with your parents, waiting for you to come home. Home? I let out a broken laugh. I don't have a home anymore. He reached into his briefcase one last time and pulled out a folded document. A deed. My address printed across the top. Actually, he said, smiling, you do. Your father bought your house through a trust the day you sold it. He's been maintaining it, keeping your workshop exactly as you left it. I just stared at the paper. My house. The one I built. The one I thought I'd lost forever. Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? We needed ironclad evidence. Melody was careful. One wrong move and she'd have vanished with the money and the kids. We had to wait until everything was locked down. He moved toward the door, then paused. Your father asked me to tell you something. He said, you did what I raised you to do. You put family first. The fact that she exploited that doesn't make you weak. It makes her evil. And evil only wins when good men stop fighting. He turned the handle. I found my voice again. Wait, I said. You said someone knocked on my door and changed everything, but you haven't changed anything yet. You've just told me the truth. Theodore smiled, broader this time. Mr. Hutchkins, the truth is the change. He opened the door. In 12 hours, your ex-wife will be in custody. Your children will be in your arms. Your business can be rebuilt, and you'll finally know that your family never gave up on you. He hesitated once more before stepping out. Oh, and your old foreman, Chester Pike? He and the crew have been turning down jobs for 6 months, waiting for you to come back. They never believed Melody either. The door closed behind him, and the silence that followed felt different, heavier, but also somehow lighter. For the first time in months, I wasn't crushed by despair. I was filled with something else. Something I hadn't felt since before everything fell apart. Purpose. Before all this, life was simple. I ran Hutchkins Construction, a small, honest business in Denver. Built houses from the ground up. Real work. Work that left calluses and pride in equal measure. The morning before my life unraveled was just another Thursday. I woke at 5:30. Melody was still asleep beside me. Dark hair on the pillow, face peaceful. 20 years of marriage, and I still felt lucky. She'd left a note like she always did. Coffee's ready. Lunch is in the fridge. Love you, Vern. Downstairs, my son Colton was already at the table, studying his football playbook. Piper came next, carrying her violin like it was gold. My kids, my reason for everything. That morning, we laughed. We argued over toast. I kissed Melody goodbye and went to work, never knowing it was the last normal day I'd ever have. By the following week, she called from the hospital, tears in her voice. They found something, Vern. Can you come? And just like that, the trap snapped shut. Dr. Vance told us the words that change families forever. Stage 3. Ovarian cancer. Aggressive treatment. I remember holding Melody as she sobbed, promising her I'd sell my soul to keep her alive. And I did. I sold our house, my tools, my father's bike. I drained every account we had, because that's what a man does for family. But the whole time, she was building her escape. A perfect illusion. Every tear rehearsed, every sickness staged, every lie sharpened to cut me just deep enough to believe her. Now, sitting in that motel room, surrounded by empty cans and broken dreams, I realized the cruelest truth of all. Sometimes the person you're trying to save is the one holding the knife. The motel clock blinked 2:45 a.m. I hadn't moved since Theodore left. His words echoed through the silence. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., 12 hours. In 12 hours, Melody would face justice. My name would be cleared. My kids would finally know who their father really was. But as I stared at the rain streaking down the motel window, another thought crept in. If my father had been fighting for me all this time, what else had he found? And why did Theodore's eyes look like a man who still wasn't telling me everything? The truth had changed everything. But somehow, I knew it wasn't the whole truth. Imagine this. You're sitting alone in a dim motel room. The wallpaper is peeling. The hum of a flickering fluorescent light fills the silence, and on the nightstand sits a half-empty can of beans. Cold, just like the life you've been living for months. You've lost your home, your business, your kids, everything you ever built, gone. And all because you loved someone enough to believe their lies. That was me. My name is Vernon Hutchkins, and if you had told me a year ago that my wife would fake having cancer, steal everything I owned, and disappear with another man, I would have laughed in your face. But that's exactly what happened. And the night I found out the truth, the night everything changed, started with a single knock on my motel door. It wasn't fate. It wasn't luck. It was my father, and the man who would show me that even at rock bottom, you are never truly alone. When I opened that door, Theodore Ashford stood there. A private investigator, sharp suit, steady eyes, carrying a file thick enough to break my heart all over again. "Mr. Hutchkins," he said, "we need to talk." He laid it all out. How Melody, my wife, had been having an affair with her so-called friend, Brent Caldwell, long before the fake diagnosis. How Caldwell himself had come up with the idea after handling another client's divorce, where the spouse pretended to be terminally ill to gain sympathy and money. It was a scam. Every appointment, every test, every tear. All of it. I remember sitting down on that motel bed, the one with the squeaky springs and cigarette burns, and burying my face in my hands. My kids thought I was a failure. They believed her lies. They testified against me in court because she made them think I was dangerous. Then Theodore pulled out another document. "About that," he said quietly, "your father's been meeting with them. He showed them the truth, Vernon, 2 weeks ago. They know everything now." My head snapped up. "What?" "Your son, Colton, caught his mother shredding documents. He called your father. The man you thought had given up on you has been fighting behind the scenes the whole time. And then he told me the words that changed everything. They're waiting for you at your father's house. But the custody order," he smiled. "That custody order won't matter by sunrise. The FBI is arresting Melody and Brent Caldwell at 6 a.m. Medical fraud, insurance fraud, money laundering, custodial interference. They're done, and Dr. Vance was arrested yesterday." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. It didn't feel real. After months of despair, humiliation, and nights sleeping in that same motel bed wondering if my life was over, it was finally ending. Her game, not mine. Then Theodore reached into his briefcase again. "Your father wanted me to give you this." He handed me a deed. My heart stopped when I saw the address. My house. The one I'd built with my own hands. The one she sold out from under me. "Your father bought it," Theodore said, "through a shell company to hide it from Melody. He's been keeping it safe for you." I couldn't even speak. He wasn't done. "He also kept your business licenses active, your insurance current. He's been turning down clients, telling them Hutchkins Construction would be back soon." That's when I broke. I hadn't cried since the night I walked out of that courtroom. But sitting there, holding that deed, realizing my old man had been silently fighting for me when I had nothing left, the tears just came. Theodore stood. "There's one more thing." He handed me a set of keys. "Your truck's in the parking lot. Your dad's been maintaining it. Oil changes, tires, the works, and this." He gave me a card. On the back, in my father's handwriting. Open quote, "Son, a man isn't measured by what he loses, but by what he's willing to sacrifice for family. You sacrificed everything. Now let your family help you rebuild. No more pride. Just come home." Close quote. I'll never forget those words. Theodore turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Your ex-wife thought she broke you. She thought you were weak for giving everything to save her. But she never understood that your strength wasn't in what you owned. It was in what you were willing to lose for someone you loved. That's not weakness, Vernon. That's the kind of strength most people will never have." After he left, I sat there in silence. Room 107, my own personal tomb. But that night, it became the place where I came back to life. When dawn hit, I showered, put on my last clean shirt, and walked outside. My old truck was sitting there under the streetlight. Same dent in the bumper, same coffee stain on the driver's seat, same crack in the windshield where Colton hit it with a baseball 2 years ago. I drove home. When I pulled up, my kids came running. Piper was crying before I even got out. "Dad, we're so sorry," she sobbed. "Mom made us lie. She said she'd send us away if we didn't." Colton, my boy, trying so hard to be strong, hugged me tighter than he ever had before. "I knew something was wrong, Dad. The way she laughed about selling the house. Grandpa showed us everything. She's evil." And behind them, standing on that porch, was my father. He looked older but proud, like a soldier who had finally won his war. "Son," he said, his voice low and steady. "Dad, I don't know what to say." "Then don't," he replied. "Just come inside. Your mother made breakfast. Your crew's on their way. But first we eat. You look like hell." And for the first time in months, I smiled. That morning, my phone rang. Mr. Hutchkins, this is Agent Sarah Coleman with the FBI. We've got Melody and Brent Caldwell in custody. With the evidence we have, they're both looking at 15 to 20 years minimum. The money has been frozen and will be returned to you as restitution. I hung up, looked at my family, and said the words I'd been waiting to say for so long. They got her. 6 months later, I was standing in my rebuilt workshop, the same workbench where I taught Colton how to hold a hammer, the same sawdust smell, the same sense of purpose. Melody got 12 years. Caldwell got 15 and lost his law license. Dr. Vance, 8 years and no more medical career. But the money wasn't what mattered. What mattered was that I was back in the shop, back with my kids, back with my crew. That Saturday morning, Colton was helping me cut boards. Piper was sanding, and she asked me something that stopped me cold. Dad, how do you trust anyone after what Mom did? I looked at her and smiled. You know what your grandpa taught me? Trust, but verify. Love should always have trust, but you don't ignore the warning signs. You love, but you keep your eyes open. Colton, love, do you hate her? No, son. Hate would mean she still has power over me. I just feel sorry for her. She had a family that loved her, a husband who would have died for her, and she threw it all away for money she can't even touch now. Just then, Chester Pike, my old foreman, walked in with coffee and donuts. Mrs. Patterson says she'll wait as long as it takes for you to build her guest house. Tell her we'll start next month, I said. A moment later, my dad appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, still inspecting my work like he used to. That corner joint could be tighter, he teased. It's perfect, I said. He grinned. Just keeping you sharp. We worked in silence for a while, the kind of silence that doesn't need words, until Piper asked, Dad, that private investigator, Mr. Ashford, why is his card still on your desk? I picked it up, reading my father's note again. He thinks I should help other people going through what I went through. Fake illness scams are more common than you'd think. He wants me to consult on cases. Maybe one day I will. And I did. 2 weeks ago, a man called me. His wife claimed she had a rare blood disease. He'd already sold his car. She wanted him to sell the house. Something felt off. I met him, went through the paperwork. 3 inconsistencies in 5 documents. Forged signatures, outdated hospital letterheads, prescriptions that didn't match the supposed illness. That man still has his house today. He asked how he could ever thank me. I told him, you just did. Because every person I help now makes what I went through worth it. A few days later, my son Colton wrote an essay for school titled, My Heroes. He wrote about his grandfather, the man who fought a silent war to save his son. He wrote about me, a man who gave everything for love, even when that love was a lie. And he wrote this line I'll never forget. Open quote. Sometimes the real hero isn't the one who saves the world. It's the one who sees you broken, looks you in the eyes and says, get up. We're not done yet. Close quote. The teacher called, worried the essay was too mature. I told her he lived it. He earned it. Last night, I sat in the front row of Piper's school concert. My parents on one side, my brother Dalton on the other, and my old construction crew filling the rest of the row. When Piper played her solo, I thought about all the concerts Melody will miss from her cell. But more than that, I thought about second chances, about grace, about rebuilding. After lunch, I stood on the porch with my dad. The kids were playing basketball in the driveway under the same hoop I hung 15 years ago, rusty but still standing. Dad, I said, I never properly thanked you. He shook his head. You don't need to. Yes, I do, I said. You saved my life when I'd given up on it. He put his hand on my shoulder. Son, you would have done the same for Colton. You already did for someone who didn't deserve it. That's not stupidity. That's character. The only difference between you and me is time. I've just lived long enough to know that sometimes the people we love most are the ones who can hurt us worst. You don't stop loving. You just love smarter. The motel key from room 107 still hangs in my workshop. Not as a reminder of my lowest point, but as proof that rock bottom isn't the end. It's just the foundation for something better. And sometimes when I see it hanging there, I can still hear that knock on the door. Because that sound, that single knock, wasn't the sound of someone bringing bad news. It was life itself, refusing to let me give up. It was my father's love, disguised in a suit and tie, holding evidence and hope in equal measure. So if you've been broken, if someone you trusted tore your life apart, listen to me. Your story isn't over. There are people fighting for you right now, even if you don't know it yet. Some of them wear badges. Some wear hard hats, some just carry your last name, and one day, maybe sooner than you think, there'll be a knock at your door too. And when it comes, open it, because that might just be the moment your rebuilding begins.